Welcome to RSFFL Live. I'm your host, Robert Harris. We're excited to start out week 4. We're almost a quarter way through our regular season, guys. I mean, the season's flying by, man. Season's flying by. Before you know it, we'll be gearing up for playoff time. As we start our shows, we always do. We want to give a shout out to our great sponsors. First off, we want to thank those guys over at Youth Passing League for being our title sponsor this year, and thank those guys for everything they do. We also want to send a great shout out to the guys coming back again this week. We got Nike Fuel Band. All right, Nike Fuel Band. Like I said, they've done wonders for the coaches cadets. We're very excited of the things that they're brought to our franchise this year, and we're looking forward for things to come for the rest of the season. I recommend all you guys to make them a part of your franchise here. All right, we also want to give a special shout out to the Lane family. All right, the Lane family sponsoring our weekly shots. All right, so you guys. And there's no more offers, so I can't just pinpoint the guys that are taking shots each week. But it's always tough Sunday and Monday nights. Only half the league can win. So Lane family is sponsoring the shots of the week. Also, want to bring back a lovely guys over at Febreze, man. These are for all those pretenders, for all those haters. Spread a little Febreze, man. Get those guys out of there, man. Get those stinky guys out of there, man. I don't want to be a part of that. It smells good. It smells real good over here. All right, now let's get started with our show. As of last week and this week, we had a couple trades that we hadn't talked about. The Hen Dog Susie Smackers and the Camp Creek Cartel. Last week, Hen Dog traded Andre Roberts, receiver, and Percy Harvin, injured receiver, to the Camp Creek Cartel for Ahmad Bradshaw and Jermichael Finley. Camp Creek got Ahmad out of there as soon as Trent came in, and Ahmad actually had a big game. So, I mean, I don't know, but Percy could be good later in the season. Andre, Larry Fitzgerald's a little injured, and Andre's coming. I mean, we'll see. I really don't know who won or lost that trade, but because Jermichael Finley's injured as well, so we'll see. We'll see. Another trade this week, we had Team Wood Paws and Arian Foster Care. Team Wood Paws traded receiver Steve Smith from the Carolina Panthers and the running back Jacquizz Rodgers from the Atlanta Falcons for Miles Austin and Fred Jackson. Both teams seem to feel some needs. AFC feel the need in that flex spot at receiver, while Team Wood Paws, he likes for Fred Jackson, and he doesn't think C.J. Spiller is going to be healthy. So good luck to both of those guys with those trades, and we'll see what's going to happen for the rest of the week. All right, now let's take a look at our rankings. Like I said, guys, we're not really participating as a league with the rankings, but we will kind of, the league office will kind of take the head on that, pause, and and we'll have our own rankings here. At number 5 coming in again. Last week our rankings were Houston Hustlers, SWAT Kings, Coaches Cadets, all aboard, and Camp Creek Cartel. 3 of those 5 teams lost last week. 3 through 5 lost. But what's interesting, as we'll talk about in a second, we only have 4 teams over 500. Out of 12 teams, there's only 4 over 500. So the rankings really haven't changed too much because those top 5 teams, actually nobody is entered that's new. They're the most consistent point wise, even though they lost. But we got some guys who are looking to take their spot moving forward. So number 5, Camp Creek Cartel is going to come in again. Number 5, they've been pretty consistent all year. Had some tough luck, but if I'm not mistaken, they've had the most points against all year. So they have some tough luck. They're putting up a pretty consistent season up to this point, even though their record's only 1-2. All aboard had a tough week this week, but overall they're 2-1. It's all about wins and losses at the end of the day. They're 2-1. They take advantage. They had a bad week last week, but overall they're doing a pretty good job, as they always do. The Coaches Cadets coming in number 3. They've been a little inconsistent the last couple of weeks, but hey, 2-1, over 500, number 3 in the league overall, so that'll put them number 3 in the power rankings. Number 2, now it hasn't been a change in the guard. Number 2 is going to be the Houston Hustlers. The Houston Hustlers are undefeated, but we think the SWAT Kings are probably the most consistent, and as of right now, I think they're unquestioned probably the best team in the league right now. So congratulations to SWAT Kings for taking over the number 1 in the Rockstar RSFFL poll. Now let's take a look at the overall. We're almost a quarter way through the league. The regular season is only 13 weeks. We're 3 games in. So this week 4 will be almost a quarter way in after this week, and so we kind of want to take a look at the league and and see where everybody's standing up to this point in the league. Like we said, we have 2 undefeated teams in the East Division. The Houston Hustlers 3-0, SWAT Kings 3-0 in the West. I think they're pretty definitely the top 2 teams in the league right now. And what's very interesting, there's only 2 other teams over 500 through 3 games. Now I think that really speaks to the parity of the league. There's not really any just dominant. I mean, the SWAT Kings and Houston Hustlers are doing a good job, but I think for the fact that we have 8 1-2 teams, everybody's won. Nobody is over. I think the league, you could win or lose, any week. You can't take any opponent for granted. There's a lot of parity, waiver wire. I mean, I think it's going to come down to who's the best coach, who has the best general manager, who has the best overall organizations. I mean, it's not, nobody's got lucky and had just an awesome draft and just going to run away with the league. So you got to manage your rosters, guys. That's going to be very interesting. So these next 2 to 3 weeks, I think it's really going to separate the cream. The cream's going to rise to the crop, and separate the pretenders from the the real guys, all right, in the league. So it's going to be interesting couple of weeks, and I look forward to really seeing how things turn out. Now let's go ahead and look forward to the matchups this week. I think we have some very interesting matchups. Like I said, there's it's 8 1-2 teams, 2 undefeated teams. The 2 undefeated teams are going to stay undefeated. What 1-2 teams are going to make that move to 500 or 2 games under 5? I think that's huge, man. Going from 2-2 and 1-3 is a big difference. It's going to take you 3 more weeks. If you go 1-3, it's going to take you 3 weeks to get over 500. That's if you win 3 in a row. So I think this is a very, very big week for those 8 teams that are 1-2. Let's start out. Let's look at the first matchup. Let's look at the They Say Who That and the Coaches Cadets. It's a big matchup here, man. It's a big matchup. They Say Who That's coming off of a huge 178-point outbreak. And They Say Who That was chattering a little bit in the chat last week. Before we get into that matchup, I want to congratulate They Say Who That. We kind of skipped over, and let's definitely don't want to skip over one of our most popular segments of the show, the high rollers and the cellar dwellers. So let's point out the high rollers. Let's be positive. Let's point out the high rollers first. Like I said, They Say Who That had a huge 178-point outburst last week, led by Drew Brees and Eric Decker and Jock Bell. But just everybody did their job. I mean, that's what I think as a coach. When you look at your roster and your lowest point is 13 points, I think you're happy. I think you're pretty happy. But congratulations to They Say Who That, their first time being on the high rollers on this season. And as no surprise, another high roller last week was the SWAT Kings, coming in with 140 points. A huge game. A huge game from tight end Jordan Cameron. A huge game from the Chiefs defense, Matt Forte, all over 20 points. That's when I spoke on earlier. I spoke on coaching. I mean, this is probably, if I'm not mistaken, the first team that kind of played a tight end as a flex position. Reggie Bush was out, so you would think that it would be a low week for those guys, but no excuses. So congratulations to SWAT Kings for their second time out of 3 weeks being a high roller. Now, the cellar dwellers. These guys right here, I'm sure the Lane family made some money off those guys this week. The cellar dwellers, for one, let's look at the first one. Let's look Hen Dog Sushi Smackers. They're playing Houston Hustlers. That was a big game for Houston, and Houston wasn't scared of them. They didn't have a great game, but Hen Dog just didn't show up at all. It's hard to win. It's hard to win when you get a 0 from your tight end that you just traded for, and you have 5 other players under double digits. We're in a PPR league now. That's tough. That is tough. But if you get that type of performance, you're gonna be in the cellar, son. So I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure the Lane family had made some money off you guys this week. And the other, we got the Lynch Mob coming in after 2 solid weeks. They're 1-2, but they had week 1 and 2 were pretty good, and they just didn't show up versus Aaron Foster Care, and they had 81 points. Like I said, guys, it's pretty hard feat not to score 100 points in the PPR league that we're in now. All the points up, quarterback points up, kick return. But man, these guys are managing to do a hell of a job of not getting close to 100. Wrong team. He had 6 guys. Good night. 6 guys under 10 points. I mean, 6 guys under 8 points. I mean, forget 10 and another one only 11. Man. Those guys are gonna go back to the drawing board, but they came out with a quote after the game. They said they have a losing record, they don't like it, but they're gonna wear it. I like that attitude from Lynch Mob, and have a big game this week. So like I said, let's look forward to those matchups for this week really fast here. They say who that coaches cadets, like I said, was that an aberration last week at 178, or is they say who that going to come up on the Eastern Division as one of the top teams here? Coach cadets, they've been a little disappointing since that week 1 outburst. Very, very solid roster. I talked to Coach Harris, and I am Coach Harris. All right, excuse me. This is, you don't want to get too much fantasy world, but as you can see, the coach cadets we're representing here with the C. But we really feel we're very happy with our running back situation, which was a weakness coming into the season, and we really feel like our receivers are going to step up. Peyton is doing a great job. We got 3 top 10 defenses. We really feel like we're a lot better than what we're playing, and this week, hopefully, we'll start we'll get to rolling again. Next name we'll look at will be the Houston Hustlers versus Ground and Pound. First of all, I want to get some special recognition to the owner of Ground and Pound. In a recent chat, we reported through social media that he came out the closet. He was supporting a homosexual cause, and we want to say that here in the RSFFL, we definitely support equality. We support all the minority groups. We support, every group is out there, and we commend you on stepping up, and believing in what you believe in. Congratulations, and we support you. But it's a big game here. He started out the week, as he does on Thursdays a lot. He has a lot of Thursday games with 35 points with Anquan Bolden and Colin Kaepernick. And I don't think that was just a awesome start, but it's definitely nothing wrong with it. Houston Hustlers got an uphill battle ahead of them this week, and I look at the matchup here, and Ray Rice supposed to be coming back. DeMarco had a big week. You got a Julio Victor. I really like RG3's getting better each week. I really like the Houston Hustlers in this matchup here. I just think his receiver position is very, very pedestrian, along with the tight end, and I'm really not sold on the coach over there as far as making decisions. So I'm going to go with Houston Hustlers with that game. Our next game we'll look at will be Team Wood Paws versus Lynch Mob, 2 1-2 teams. Team Wood Paws has seen a lot of ridicule at the league. He had only 2 points from Richardson last night, so he's going to have an uphill battle ahead of him. Lynch Mob, like I said, had 2 great weeks starting out the season, so we'll see if he can bounce back here. I'm going to go with Lynch Mob in that game. Big Western Division matchup with Olive Board and SWAT Kings, the top 2 teams in that division. SWAT Kings they'll get a 2-game lead if they can in the division. If they can get a victory here. Olive Board had 3 guys play last night, and none of those 3 guys hit 10 points. So it's going to be tough, uphill battle there. I'm going to go with SWAT Kings here. But, the Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, there's going to be a shootout out there in Denver. If they can catch their breath, they can definitely do some damage out there. But I'm going to go with SWAT Kings to stay undefeated. Another big matchup here. We got Hen Dog, Sushi Smackers versus Picasso Baby in the Western Division over there. Both 1-2. Both a lot of question marks. I'm not sold on either one of these teams starting out the season. Picasso, they won last week, but it wasn't, that impressive. I have in Hendon Sushi Smackers, he doesn't know he's going to start. He has a lot of blank guys over here, and then Picasso starting Joe Flacco at quarterback, and then you got C.J. Smith and Chris Johnson. I haven't really heard much of him. He's just got. I just don't see a lot of fire, But I respect both of these owners. I think these are 2 of the top coaches in the league and organization. So I believe they'll bounce back. I believe they'll figure out a way. That's what these teams do. They figure out a way. They're going to keep finding out until they get it right. Then the last game, which I think is the game of the week, the Camp Creek Cartel versus Aaron Foster Care. Both of these teams are 1-2 in the Western Division, but both of these teams have put up some pretty good numbers thus far this season. Camp Creek is silently being one of the most consistent teams in the league. They haven't just got a 200-point game, 180-point game, but they're putting up points each and every week. And Arian Foster Care, I think, just had a really bad week 2. They had a great week 1, and week 3 they had a pretty good week last week. Both of them have really solid rosters. I think this is a big game. Both of these teams have not really traditionally done well in the RSFFL. So I think for the confidence of their team and their organization, for that team that can start a little slow but still be 2-2 quarter way through the season, I think it's gonna go a long way. And I think whoever wins this game is gonna be really have a lot of confidence and move forward. But the loser of this game, I'm worried about them because especially if they do well and lose. 1-3 after having a solid start in the season. I mean, can they pick themselves up and move forward in the season? But I'm looking forward to this week, man. We've had a lot of trash talk. I mean, it's just the league is just active. I mean, every Wednesday morning. I mean, the waiver is going crazy. Now, some owners think that that's a sign of panic, but as the commissioner of the league, I like it because everybody's involved and everybody's trying to do everything they can to give their team an advantage. But that's it for this week's show, guys. Good luck this week, except for they say who that. I'm going to be honest with you. I really didn't like how you got so excited. Started talking a lot of Smith after your 0-2 start. But, we're going to handle that on the football field, of our team because we don't have room to talk. 2 weeks with barely putting up 110 points is not going to cut it. But, hey, guys, next week we want to try to get these ratings up. I see the ratings going down. We're going to get some interviews going next week. We're going to get a little more interactive with our owners and our coaches of the league. And so we're looking forward to it. Thanks again to our sponsors. And we'll see you guys next week. Good luck to everybody except they said who that.